Alright, with my review up for Spider-Man Homecoming and going back and revisiting some of the older Spider-Man films by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, it's time to sit down and rank the Spider-Man films from worst to best. We've had 6 different Spider-Man films and 3 different people portraying Spider-Man. We've had Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, and plenty of villains in these movies. So let's talk about the worst to the best. Alright, starting off with the worst Spider-Man film is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This is the last film that Andrew Garfield did as Peter Parker and is definitely the worst one. We have the villains of the Rhino, Electro, and the Green Goblin all in this film vying for some screen time, and I do think that they did not handle their storylines very well. I was really interested in seeing Harry Osborn in this film, and he was so rushed. I mean, I really did not care if he became the Green Goblin or not. They really should have introduced him in the first film, then had him be in the second film as the Green Goblin. I just felt like his character was way too rushed. I did appreciate Dane DeHaan as the Green Goblin, but he was way too rushed, and they jumbled, and they tried to start the Sinister Six way too early by having Paul Giamatti horribly portray the Rhino.
Oh, you're a funny guy.
And then we had Jamie Foxx, who I really didn't mind, but it became like too clingy and weird. I like the look of Electro and his abilities, but I really didn't like the way they portrayed him in this movie. Overall, there's a lot of things that were really wrong with this film. There was a lot of tone issues with this film. They jumbled too many storylines. It came off awkward at times, and I think they were too focused on building a lot of stuff, and I really would have liked to see where this franchise would have gone if The Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't completely bomb. Alright, coming in at the second to worst Spider-Man film, and that is Spider-Man 3. This is the last Spider-Man film to star Tobey Maguire, and this one also, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, had a lot of villains. We had Sandman, Venom, and the Green Goblin in this film. This one's a little bit better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because this one looks really good, and I do like some of the sequences with the Green Goblin and Spider-Man and how they were building up this conflict between Harry and Peter. I like the look of the Sandman. I like the look of the Venom. I really like the look of this film, but the issue lies with its storytelling. There's so many different subplots going on that it's hard to have one central focus in this film. They should have cut out Venom, they should have cut out Spider-Man, and they should have just had it been about Harry and Peter's conflict they were building in the very first movie. Focus on that, forget everything else, let's have a nice end to a trilogy. And then you had another love interest with Gwen Stacy. They were introducing too many things all in one film that just felt jumbled. Alright, coming up next is The Amazing Spider-Man. This was the first reboot that starred Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, and I really don't mind this film. I do find it to be very fun. I sat down and watched it the other day. I think my biggest issue with this film is the untold story and how Peter Parker's father was the one that created the spider. I really found that to be unnecessary. It's just a boy who was bitten by a spider, and the spider happened to give him abilities. We don't really need a backstory of one creating it and have everything be secretive. I really did like Dr. Kurt O'Connor's. I thought the lizard looked like the Goombas from the Super Mario Bros. Movie, but I do like the lizard as a character. The look, not so much. Sometimes I did think Andrew Garfield was a little awkward and how he stumbled over his words so much to create like confusion, or like, I don't know what the hell he was going for, but it was weird. But overall, I really don't mind this film. I think it looks pretty cool. I like the suit, I like the lizard. I just didn't really care much for the untold story and some of Andrew Garfield's awkward moments. Alright, coming up next, some of the better Spider-Man films. Coming in at number 3 would be Spider-Man 1. I thought a lot about this, and I really like Tobey Maguire's earlier Spider-Man films, and I really do like Tom Holland's Spider-Man Homecoming. My issue with Spider-Man 1 and why it's not at the second best Spider-Man film is that there is a big shift in the middle part of the film. I really do like the first half of the film where he's learning about his ability, he's going out in the world saving people, he's excited about being Spider-Man, but there's a middle part of the film where it kind of just jumps to a whole nother level. He now lives with Harry. He's left Aunt May. There's just a lot of things that changed, and the tone did change as well. It went from like fun, friendly Spider-Man to a lot of like personal issues. And I really don't mind those personal issues because it does add a lot to Peter Parker. But I do think it took a massive leap to get there and didn't have enough development to get where it was. It just jumped to where they needed to be and skipped very critical development points. And the Green Goblin's suit was horrendous. But I do like Norman Osborn as Norman Osborn. I really just didn't like the suit for the Green Goblin. Yeah, I liked the action, but nothing felt very critical until the very end of the film. But I did like Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. He did a terrific job. Alright, coming in as the second best Spider-Man film, and that is Spider-Man Homecoming. This is the most recent one, and the one I just recently saw. And I don't know if it's because I just saw it, but I do think that it is the second best Spider-Man film. I like that there was no origin story. I liked the Vulture, and probably one of the best villains in recent memory for all of Marvel's films. And I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I like his determination. And I like his excitement level as being Spider-Man and going off into the world and doing the small things because you do need that small hero. I thought some of the integration to other side villains was really good. Like the Shocker was in here, and it wasn't like the Venom, Sandman, Rhino bad. It was really good. They just integrated it and put it in there very nicely. I thought this film was very funny. I do think that Tom Holland did a great job portraying the things I really admire about Spider-Man. Iron Man was in here. He didn't overstay his boundaries. It looks cool. The suit looks awesome. Overall, the action's really fun. And it's everything I really want in a Spider-Man film. But it's not the best Spider-Man film. For me, it is Spider-Man 2. This is easily the best Spider-Man film. It is one that has the most compelling storyline and the one that I think jumbles Peter Parker and Spider-Man very well. Peter Parker is dealing with a lot. He's trying to figure out what his place is in the world, and he's wondering, can I live a life as Peter Parker and also as Spider-Man? And he's jumbling that questions in his mind, and it ultimately leads to the point of him wanting just not to be Spider-Man. And I really think that adds a lot to the character, that he has this responsibility as Spider-Man to do good for the world. And even if it ruins part of Peter Parker's life, he has this responsibility to be a good citizen. And he digs deep into himself to ultimately learn that this is what he needs to do, and that is be Spider-Man. And this has to have some of the best action sequences, the one with the train, and really feels like a lot is at stake, and Spider-Man will give it his all to save these people on the train, even if it means tearing his body apart. And that's what I really admire about that whole sequence, is that Spider-Man is willing to give it his all to save people he doesn't even know. I really like Dr. Octopus as well. I thought he was a very compelling villain. And what my favorite part about this whole entire movie is the story and how it juggled Peter Parker wondering if he should be Spider-Man or not, and dealing with that responsibility, and also dealing with college, Mary Jane, Harry, helping out Aunt May. There's just a lot going on in Peter Parker's life. How he deals with those characters really makes him a well-written character. So there you guys have it, the worst Spider-Man film from Amazing Spider-Man 2 all the way down to the best Spider-Man film coming in with Spider-Man 2. You can either do the second Spider-Man film really bad, or you can do the second Spider-Man film really good. Before I leave you guys, how would you rank all 6 of these Spider-Man films? Comment down below with how you would rank those films. You guys are the best as always. I really enjoy doing these ranking videos. You can find a playlist link down below for other ranking videos I have done, like Friday the 13th, all Pirates movies, all Transformer films, the Despicable Me movies. I will be doing a lot more in the near future. You guys are the best as always. This is Just Watch Movies, and you stay classy, YouTube.